Week 4, the game in Pittsburgh was super fun. Jets at Steelers. The Jets won 24-20. But two young quarterbacks made their season debut. Zach Wilson, the Jets quarterback, played for the first time after starting the year hurt. He had a minor knee surgery during the preseason. Now, on the other side of the field, you have Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett, who made his NFL debut. First time ever playing an NFL game. Great for him. He's a first-round draft pick, the only quarterback drafted in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. Let's start with Kenny Pickett. Pittsburgh. That'd be like a fun nickname if they ran like a wing tee offense. Pittsburgh benched quarterback Mitchell Trubisky at halftime. They got tired of watching him struggle. They're like, we're not doing it anymore. Trubisky, I don't want to say the guy is useless, man. I feel like that's unfair. He had a really good throw to Deontay Johnson. It was almost one of the most incredible touchdown throws I've ever seen, like in a really tight window. Like, Trubisky isn't awful. He'll always probably have a job in the NFL because he is somewhat competent. Although, is he? Like, here's what I mean. Watching Trubisky, I'm like, man, I have no confidence this guy can beat man coverage with a great throw. Like, you watch Aaron Rodgers, you watch Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, these guys throwing back shoulder fades and throwing people open against man coverage. Trubisky doesn't have that ability to do that. He's not accurate enough. He doesn't have a strong enough arm to put enough zip on the ball to do that. And then also, it's year 6 in the NFL, and he's still struggling with basic stuff like finding windows against zone coverage. And if you can't beat zone coverage, also, I don't think you can beat man coverage, then what can you do as a quarterback? You're like a babysitter who can babysit the football a little bit and not be horrible, I guess, but the ceiling is so limited for Mitchell Trubisky, and he's not made progress enough. He's made some. He's better than he used to be, but he's not made enough to justify being a starting quarterback at any level or on any team in the NFL. And when you're like, can't beat man coverage, can't beat zone coverage, I guess he can hand it off. Like, are you even really valuable as a backup? Because in a big game, what does Trubisky offer you? Like, I would love to see Trubisky running the offense in Miami, maybe. But I think Tua is better than Trubisky by a lot. Like, Trubisky, again, I don't know that he has the anticipation to run the Dolphins system. It's just weird and confusing. Now, the Steelers were so much more fun to watch on offense after they made the change to Kenny Pickett at quarterback, because he took more shots downfield than Trubisky was doing. And really, I thought Kenny Pickett did a great job giving the Pittsburgh receivers a chance, because Pittsburgh has really good receivers. They've got George Pickens, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. Also, they have Pat Freiermuth at tight end. Like, that's too good of a receiving group to not score points and do well. And Kenny Pickett not only throws the ball better than Trubisky, where he's more accurate, he's got more velocity, he also has better body language. I like how he interacts with his receiving core. You can tell the locker room actually prefers Kenny Pickett. Also, I guess really it's worth a shout out to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh head coach, was really patient. Like, I love how he handled this quarterback situation. Pittsburgh started the year with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. It was bad. It was ugly. And for weeks now, people have been chanting Kenny Pickett's name. And now, after 3.5 games of Trubisky, frustration has built and built and built. And now there's more appreciation for Kenny Pickett than there would have been if he'd started from day one. People are going to be more forgiving of Kenny Pickett's mistakes because he's still better than Mitchell Trubisky. And the locker room now really wants Kenny Pickett because they're losing. They're 1-3. The quarterback situation hasn't been good enough. I got to give a shout out to Mike Tomlin. What a smart approach by him to maybe wait a week or two too long to switch to Kenny Pickett. But what he did was get Kenny Pickett support from the fan base and from the locker room. Kenny Pickett isn't amazing. He's got room to grow, and he could be better, but man, he's going to get better in time, and he's already better than Mitchell Trubisky. And if you put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich against rotten eggs, that's not a decision. Like, by itself, you're like, hey, you want a PB&J? But if I sell it to you, hey man, you either can have rotten eggs like they're bad and moldy, or you could have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich I just made, which is good and healthy. The PB&J maybe wasn't that exciting, but when the other option is awful, you're like, yeah, let's take the decent option. And I think the way that Mike Tomlin handled the whole scenario, he sold it to us. He sold Kenny Pickett now as a better commodity because we know what the alternative is, which is really bad. Mike Tomlin made everyone love Kenny Pickett even more. And I just, round of applause to Mike Tomlin. I think a lot of people were confused. A lot of people didn't understand. Now, in hindsight, that makes sense. He had a very wise approach with Kenny Pickett, and he rallied the troops in support of Kenny Pickett and really, especially got the locker room on his side. On paper, Kenny Pickett's numbers weren't amazing. They're interesting, I guess. He was 10 for 13 passing, 120 yards, no touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, which I think makes people cringe at first. Now, Kenny Pickett did run for 2 touchdowns. He also, did have 3 picks, but also it's kind of weird that Kenny Pickett, 10 for 13 passing, 3 incompletions. All 3 incompletions were picked off, which is kind of a rare stat line. I've never heard of that before. Kind of weird. Number 3 was not his fault at all. Kenny Pickett threw a Hail Mary at the end of the game, trying to make a play. It's a jump ball. You hope your guy gets it. It's just a shot in the dark, and it got picked off. Like, that's bad luck. His second interception was, I believe, a throw to George Pickens. Not a great decision. I remember it well. It got tipped, but he kind of forced it into coverage. That's on him. That's not a great decision, not a great throw. His first interception was also one that I thought was his fault. Chase Claypool was double covered, but there was really only one defender that could make a play on the ball. I actually liked the idea of taking a shot to Chase Claypool. I want to see Kenny Pickett do that a lot more in the future. Like, he's such a good receiver in one-on-one coverage. Give him a chance. Put it up there. I just thought the ball was kind of underthrown, and underthrown football plus Chase Claypool maybe didn't do a good enough job playing defense, getting the ball knocked out of the defender's hand. That led to an interception, but they weren't like horrible interceptions that were awful. The second one I thought was the worst interception of the 3. The third one wasn't his fault at all. All in all, I thought it was a solid day for Kenny Pickett. He scored 2 touchdowns. I think the offense moves the ball much better with him at quarterback than Trubisky. And the receiving core really prefers Kenny Pickett because he actually gives them chances to make plays. He's taking shots downfield. He's trusting them to go get the football. I think Kenny Pickett is an outstanding fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers receiving core. I mean, we've seen that's something Big Ben even struggled with was managing the personalities and keeping them happy. Kenny Pickett's great at that. Watch him on the sideline, interacting, dapping people up. Like, he really is, I think, exactly what the Steelers need from a personality standpoint at quarterback. He's got some dog. You see him clapping. You see him rallying the troops. Trubisky looks confused and upset and kind of lost and passive. Pickett's a little more type A, a little more outgoing, a little more in your face, but also like he allows the receivers room to complain to him, and he listens to them, and he gives them what they want, which again is an opportunity. He really is going to throw the ball downfield and give them a shot and give them freedom to make plays where Trubisky just wasn't taking enough shots downfield. So I really think all around, Kenny Pickett is not only an upgrade on Trubisky, he's also probably an upgrade over what Big Ben was last year, which is blasphemous, I know, but Big Ben last year wasn't the primetime Big Ben we saw years ago. And Big Ben, as his career went on, got worse and worse at interacting with younger teammates. Kenny Pickett, like, I'm not trying to hate on Big Ben, but that's true. He complained and he didn't seem to get along with Chase Claypool very well. Kenny Pickett's great at that. Like, he really is, I think, from a personality standpoint, exactly what the Steelers need. So I walked away feeling very positive about Kenny Pickett, and shout out to Mike Tomlin for giving us 3.5 weeks of suffering with Mitchell Trubisky to make us appreciate Kenny Pickett even more.